Good morning or good afternoon to everyone, wherever you are. Today we're going to do a video on getting your computer into tip-top position. The first part we're going to do is we're going to look at adding and removing unwanted programs, and then we're going to move into looking at the areas we can do with the task manager, which I'll explain a little bit later on, so don't worry about that too much now. We're going to clean the disk up, the hard disk itself, and then we're going to end up what's called a defragmentation of the hard drive. So again, I'll explain these terms in more detail as we get to them. But for now, you can pause this video at any time, and I'd recommend you follow along. Obviously, if you've got two monitors, that's great. I will be putting a video up on how to do that as well. So sit back, relax, and hopefully this will help your computer run a little bit more. Okay, so what we're going to do first up is learn how to add and remove programs. What this will do is free up disk space for us to make the machine, whether it be a laptop or a desktop, run faster. So first of all, we're going to move down to the little taskbar down at the bottom here, or this little place where we can data entry. So we put the word add in. You'll see a little icon appear on the screen with add and remove programs. Simply click open. Now what this does is gives us a list of exactly what programs are installed on our computer. And we can actually delete some of these things off we don't use. Over time, our computers gather a lot of software that we've downloaded that we really don't use anymore. They're fairly old. They're old games we might have downloaded for our kids, or software packages that we just don't need. Some of them actually can be malicious, but I'll go into them a little bit further in the next videos when we talk about security, about programs that do cause you a problem. But what I like to do is I like to sort by name, by size. The idea by that is obviously you want to clean the bigger ones off. At the moment my machine is fairly clear, so I'm going to have to go down a fair way to find anything I want to get rid of, which I've just added in. So I'm scrolling fairly well down to the bottom here, and one of the ones I'm going to get rid of first is I'm going to get rid of Brave. It's a browser that's used. I can reinstall if I want to use it. So I'm going to uninstall it, press the uninstall. Most of the time it will come up, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? In this case, yes, we do. Okay. Sometimes it will just delete it off by itself. It will ask you again, are you sure you want to uninstall Brave? Yes. In this case, do I want to delete the browsing data? Because it is an internet browser, in the past it will have kept data. Yes, I want to get rid of that, so I want to uninstall it. And that will take that off the machine. So you can see that disappeared. So that's really as simple as it is to remove and add a program. What you need to do is go through your list and decide what you need to remove and what needs to stay. And the rule of thumb is if you're not sure, do not delete it. Number one, don't delete anything from Microsoft Corporation. That way you won't interrupt your machine in any way. Generally anything from Intel or AMD. Do not delete anything like that. Anything if you're running like a printer, like a Canon or anything like that, you'll see a Canon printer, and obviously things you don't want to delete yourself as well. If you're not sure, by all means drop me a message. You can just tell me what it is and I'll be able to tell you whether you want to delete it. So I'm going to do that one more time, and I'm going to delete teleprompter, that one there. So, and I'm just going to go uninstall, and you'll see preparing to remove. So this one's going to take a little bit of time. Again, it asks me, do I want to remove it? I go yes. So I'll let that go, and that will be disappeared. That is as simple as it is. So once you've done that, you can close that program down, and we can move on to the next section. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at what programs start up when the computer actually reboots. This is where a lot of older laptops and even the newer ones get bogged down as when they boot up. What happens is anything that when the computer starts up that's in this startup menu will actually run in the background of your computer, taking up memory of the computer and disk size as well. So I'm going to get you to, if you hold the control button down, which is the bottom left of your keyboard, the Alt key, which is just to the right of it, and then press the Delete key, you'll see a screen like that called the task, and the one you want to go into is called the task manager. So you'll get a screen like this. Now if you don't get a screen like this but you get a screen like that, what I'll get you to do is hit more details. And across the top we've got things called processes, performance, our app history, our startup, users, details and services. We're only going to use processes just for the sake of ease today. As you can see at the moment, my CPU, which is what's called a central processing unit, so it's the nuts and bolts essentially of the computer, the brains of the computer, the memory. So like our own brains, if we've got too many things going on in there, it tends to slow down, and eventually as that gets to 100%, it has a meltdown as well. So accessing the disk at the moment as well. So all in all, that's not, I have a fairly decent machine, so I can have a reasonable amount of windows open. If your machine is older, you want to have as least amount of windows as you possibly can. So at the moment, if we look about what's taking up the most of memory, we can actually hit that actual button here. We'll hit it twice. So we're clicking the mouse button twice. We'll do that once more again just to show you. It's on the memory. If we click it once, it shows the least amount of things that are using memory and the most amount of using memory. Now, quite easily, if I'm not using my AVG secure browser at the moment, it's using that 253 megabytes. It's clearly using most, and my Outlook is using the next. And then OBS Studio, which I've got open as well, which is actually recording this video. So I can't close that one down because that's going to obviously stop the recording. But what I can do is I can close down AVG secure browser. To do this, simply move on to the AVG secure browser, right click it, and then hit the end task button. Now that will take a little bit of time to do, but while you're doing it, you can do the Microsoft Outlook if you don't want to keep your Outlook open, and end task. As I said, it takes a little bit of time to do, but what you'll notice is they disappear, and sometimes it looks like the CPU. This will change from time to time. So again, you can see it's things that are using. We can go down that list as well if there's anything on there that we want to get rid of. But most of them you won't be getting rid of. Obviously, the AVG is my antivirus software. But you will know what uses up the most. We can do the same with the CPU again. See what's using the most of that. Is click on that once. Twice gives it the least amount, most. So at the moment, my OBS Studio is using the absolute most of it. But 9% and 27% is fine. What I am going to show you is what happens when we Google Chrome. We use Google Chrome. Google Chrome is really, really heavy on memory usage. So what I notice a lot of the time when I'm cleaning computers up is people tend to they'll literally flip their laptop up and they've got Google Chrome already running with about 6 or 7 tabs open. But if we open Google Chrome, now depending on where you've got it located, you might have it located on your desktop or on your, this is called a taskbar down the bottom here. Just open your Google Chrome. Alright, so you've got your Google Chrome open, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look. So just minimize that down, so with this little tiny dash there, into the bottom. So that will actually go down there and minimize. That'll be sitting in our tray at the bottom. And you can see Google Chrome instantly has pushed our memory up 5% and is using that there. So if we go back to Google Chrome itself and open that up, what you'll see now is if we're just going to click on news.com and just open up a bunch of tabs by hitting that little plus key, and you can try this if you like, and then we'll just put news.com on each one of them. So just keep clicking along that, and then what we'll do from there is we'll actually minimize that down. And now let's have a look at what Google Chrome is doing. So suddenly now you can see I've got that many tabs open. I think it was around 6 we had open. My CPU usage has gone absolutely through the roof, and the memory is, and as I said, I'm running a pretty big machine, so you can see the impact that it has on it. So what we need to do there is, even if we close this down, which we'll close it, go back to Google Chrome. So back from this menu here, down to wherever your Google Chrome is. Generally it sits on your taskbar there. Open it up, and let's just close that down. And let's see what happens with the memory from there. So give that a chance. As you can see, it's still holding, and when you actually open up Google Chrome there. So that's deleted off there now, but it's still fairly high. So we're going to leave that sit there for a while. So that will help your performance of your computer straight away. Quite often, when you come back and you feel like your machine's lagging or slowing down, Google Chrome tends to put itself somewhere again. It's a very invasive program, but unfortunately, it's still the #1 browser in the world, so we have to use it. So I hope that helps. And again, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop me a line on Messenger or on my email, which I'll attach to it as well. Okay, let's move on. The next thing we're going to do is what's called defrag or defragment and optimise drive. So we simply go down to the bottom again to our little search bar, which is, and we just type in the words defrag. It will come up straight away. Click on the open button, and you'll see some of you may have multiple drives, so you'll have to do this to each drive if you want. And again, depending on how long it's been since you've done it, or then that will obviously, that's how long it's going to take. So sometimes you have to run this overnight if it hasn't ever been done. Sometimes it only takes a few minutes. So we're going to optimize the drive. So we literally have the drive, which is our C drive, which is our main drive on the computer there. So we will actually optimize, and what that will do is literally go through, and you can see it's doing trimmed. And it will be fairly quick, which it's done in a few seconds on mine because it was 0 days. Well, it's only 4 days since it was last done. So what you can do is schedule optimization as well, which if you go into change settings and you see if these are selected, it's very important that they are selected. So you can choose your drives, system reserve. This should all be like that. Most of the time this should be set up for you. But at a lot of the older computers, if you haven't upgraded or done your updates, then obviously you won't have that setting. So to do that at the moment, it doesn't allow me to change it. I can change the frequency if I want to daily or to monthly. I can delete that to run as scheduled, or I can actually, if that's not ticked, just tick that box, and that will allow you to do that. Click OK. And that's ready to go, and that's as simple as that, and that will clean off essentially what defragmentation drive is. As you add and remove programs, it leaves spaces in your hard drive. And if you're just thinking of them as the best way to look at it is if you're putting blankets into a bag, what this essentially do is if you have one of those vacuum seal bags and you suck the air out of it, it squishes it down tighter and then to save room there. So and it means all those little missing blocks where you've deleted programs will then all compact together, making the drive run smoother. Okay, that pretty much concludes everything I'm going to show you today. There's about another 5 tips that are a little bit more advanced, which I just don't want to overload new users or people trying to keep the videos as simple as possible. So this stuff will get you going and help your PC run or your laptop run faster. There are a few, I'll do the next one actually on a laptop because there's a few power saving things you can do to increase the performance of the laptop. So I hope this has been helpful. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop me an email or message me directly with any questions. If you have any ideas for videos you'd like produced or something you'd like to learn, and let me know if you're happy with the content, that would be great. Have a wonderful day. I hope everyone stays safe, and we'll